So what is up, fellow YouTubers? My name is Mike. This is Extreme Automotive Addiction, and as always, I'm happy you're here. It's Sunday, end of a very busy and active weekend. A lot's happened, and I just thought I wanted to make a quick video to share that with you and kind of share some updates and catch you guys all up to speed on what's going on, what's happening, and what's going in, what's coming out. And then I also want to answer a couple of questions I've been meaning to answer for a little while. So as I said, very long weekend, but a very busy, very active weekend. Got a lot of stuff done. I feel good about this weekend. And the first thing is, if you didn't watch the last video, actually was able to get my DeLorean out of here. It's no longer in the shop, and it is in Sacramento with a DeLorean mechanic at his home. He's going to work on it. Found this guy through a fellow DeLorean owner that I make friends with, Josh. You guys will see him in the last video. Me and Armando and Josh actually took the DeLorean up to Sacramento and dropped it off at Clinton's house. If you did watch the video, you'll remember that I actually forgot the keys to the DeLorean. So when we got there, we had to just roll the DeLorean off the trailer and had to let it sit there out in the street. And then my plan was to actually go back up later that evening and drop off the keys. I couldn't go that early because I actually had someone coming to look at my 72 Chevy pickup. So my plan was to go about 7, maybe 8 at night. So I wasn't going to get back to kind of late. But I didn't want the DeLorean sitting out. So yes, if you did catch that in my rambling, someone did come to look at the 72 Chevy pickup, and they did end up buying the truck. Very nice guy. Just so happened he lived up towards Sacramento area, a little past Sacramento actually. So it actually worked out kind of good because in his travels going back, I was able to get him to take the keys back up to Clint and drop them off at Clint's house. So it was a little out of this guy's way. I really appreciate him doing it. The guy's name's Chris, so if you're watching this video, Chris, thank you very much. I really appreciate your lifesaver. You saved me basically a 3-hour round trip that night up and back, so greatly appreciate it. Got the keys to the DeLorean up to Clint. Clint was able to get the car started into his garage, and he was supposed to start digging into the car today. So, hopefully within the next week or so, I'll find out what he thinks we should do and kind of get an idea what it's going to cost me. I really want to get that car gone through and everything done right. Right now, the air conditioning is working. It's got definitely an oil leak. It's just not running right. It's missing. Its cold starts are horrible. And I don't know, maybe the fuel system needs to be gone through. It may need a tune-up. It may need a lot of things, but I want to get it done right because I'm going to keep that car. I really like that car. And the more I'm hanging out with the other DeLorean owners, the more enthusiastic I'm getting about it. And I can't even talk. I'm so excited. That's really the bottom line. So as far as other things happening, the Camaro is out right now. Eddie's doing some work. He's cleaning up some of the wiring underneath the hood. The turn signals, after he did the ignition key, something was not working there, so he's going to get that fixed. It's got to drain the battery because I went to start it up after sitting for like 2 days, and brand new battery was dead, so it's got to drain there. So he's got a few things to do there, but he's working on a neighbor, a friend's Shelby Cobra replica like mine, doing some stuff there. So Eddie's staying very busy. Plus, he's been doing some work on my mom's car. So Eddie is definitely not bored these days, but the Camaro should be back hopefully in a few days. And then we're kind of starting to wind down with things like that. I do have projects. I'm going to kind of go through and reevaluate projects on the vehicles, kind of figure out what I want to get rid of, what I want to keep. Obviously, the Buick and the Mustang, my 66 Mustang, my 72 Buick GS350 are still in Benicia. Nothing going on with them, but the plan is to sell them. I'm very enthusiastic to sell them. Like I said, I sold the 72 Chevy pickup, and I am very, very seriously planning to sell this car behind me, the 1950 Ford. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this car. I love the patina on the car. I love the way it drives. I love the 3-speed on the column. I do love the car. But it just so happens a friend of mine who came over one day and we took a little ride in it, and he started looking at this car. He really likes it. He and I started talking about it, and I said, yeah, I would sell it to him because, 1, I know it's going to a good home. 2, I can still see the car and drive the car when I want to. And 3, if I ever want to buy the car back and he wants to get rid of it, I get first dibs. But I'm also thinking about selling the 41 Ford when it comes back. It just kind of depends on what happens. So I'm looking at a couple different vehicles. Obviously, you guys have heard me talk about C5 Z06. I've looked at a couple. I'm considering maybe getting another one of those. I still like those cars, but I have another vehicle on my bucket list that is almost obtainable right now. And I'm looking at a couple of them. I'm not going to say exactly what the car is right now, but it's definitely a bucket list car. But it is one that, yeah, I would definitely need all the money I have right now, the sale of this, the sale of the 41, and maybe even a little extra to buy this car. Because these are a little nicer cars. They go a little bit higher. I mean, projects are in the 20,000 range, mid-20s range for project cars. And like a done, finished Concours type cars, $150,000. Obviously, I'm not going to get a Concours type car. I'm going to get something in the lower range, but still, it's going to be up there, and I'm going to have to pinch some pennies to get it if that works out. The smarter move would probably go with the C5 Z06 and just kick back and enjoy it for a little while, have some cash in hand. But look around, I'm not known for doing the smartest things in the world all the time. And speaking of the 41 Ford, I actually do have a little update on it. I was actually getting a little bit nervous because I had texted and called the guy that has it several times, and he wasn't returning my phone calls, he wasn't texting me back. It was getting me to the point where I was starting to wonder about it, wondering if something happened. So I was able to get a hold of him over the weekend, another thing that happened this weekend, and he told me that he got a couple of things fixed, but when one of the gauges stopped working, so basically he's just going to put a 3-pod aftermarket gauge setup underneath the dash for the water temperature, the voltmeter, and the oil pressure, which is just fine for me. As long as the speedometer works and the gas gauge works, and as long as all my lights and my signals and everything like that work, I'm happy. Supposedly that's all working. He's just got to get these 3-pod gauges, put them in there, get them back together. He's thinking probably next week, so it'll be good to have that car back. And then, like I said, I can decide if I'm going to sell it or if I want to go ahead and do a few things to it and kind of continue on the path that I'd taken off with it. So now let me end the video by answering some questions. And I apologize, I know my arms go all over the place when I'm talking because they're attached. See, if I do this, I can't talk. So I've got to kind of be moving around a little bit. That's just kind of the way I am. And I'm very enthusiastic because it's been a good weekend and things are moving around. I'm always excited at the prospect of a new car coming in, even if it's a car I've had before or what have you. But when things are changing, I'm happy, and obviously things are kind of changing all the time here in the shop, even if it's just like projects and stuff like that. But I'm rambling, I'll stop. Okay, so sometime back I talked about wanting to answer some questions, doing a little Q&A and stuff like that. I haven't gotten a lot of questions. I got I think one on Instagram, and I've gotten a couple of questions on in the comments of YouTube. And like I said, I've talked about them before. I've answered these questions before, but it's okay. New people are coming in all the time. That's okay. I'm happy to answer them 100 times if I need to. It's totally cool. People want to know. That's what I'm here to do. So first question I got, what was the first car I ever bought? I'm doing this from memory. And when did I get really passionate about cars? So the first vehicle I bought actually would be the second vehicle I ever owned. It was 1970 Volkswagen Bug. It was cool. I beat on it. I had a good time with it. Drove it for a couple years. It was great on gas. Slow as sin, but you know what? It was fun. It was just a lot of fun to drive. And every now and then I think about getting another Volkswagen Bug. So that was the first one I actually bought. My first vehicle, obviously, my 65 Chevy pickup, but my dad gave it to me. I didn't buy it. So I can't actually say that I laid out money to purchase it. I laid out money to do stuff to it. I got a lot of money into it, but I did not purchase that vehicle. As far as really being passionate about vehicles, from the time I could drive, I liked vehicles. I would sit there and go, oh, that's a cool Corvette, or that's cool Mustang, or whatever, but I was never really passionate about them. I would say right around 2009, maybe the end of it, first to 2010 is when I really started getting into them. And suddenly, I had 2 cars, and that turned into 3, and then 4, and then 5, and it just kind of grew from there. And I would have to say that my passion has probably multiplied by 1,000 since that time. So in the last 8, 9 years, it's just really grown, and I love this. This is great. I consider this a huge blessing. I love coming out here and being able to tinker with these things and drive them, and even when I sell them, like selling the 72 Chevy pickup yesterday, seeing it go to a good home, someone who's going to appreciate it, someone who wants it, someone who's going to enjoy it, it makes me happy. Another question that I got was, do I work on my own vehicles? And no, I don't work on my own vehicles. I'm not a mechanic. I can do basic stuff if I really need to, but I choose not to. I don't even really wax my vehicles anymore. It's just to the point I'm getting too lazy. I'll do spot cleanings and stuff like that, little things, belts, hoses, stuff like that, little stuff I can do, fuses, whatever. Yeah, small stuff like that, but if we're talking about anything majorly mechanical, like carburetors and stuff like that, and little stuff that needs to be done, I have Eddie. We do have a workshop that's just a mile from here. There's a lift over there. There's all the stuff, all the tools and air tools and things like that he needs to work on the vehicle. So it's a win-win for me because Eddie really enjoys working on these vehicles, and he's very inexpensive. He's a good mechanic. He does a good job overall. So it really works out well. It cost me a lot of money to keep these vehicles running if it wasn't for Eddie. So, but yeah, I do have someone that takes care of my vehicles for me, and he's great. I really do appreciate him. So another question I get all the time is, how do I afford all these vehicles? The way that I was able to get here is not exactly a happy story. But you know, I'm retired, my house is paid for, all the cars are paid for, I don't own anything, so that's good. And you know, I live fairly modestly. I mean, there's nothing extravagant about my lifestyle, with the exception of maybe my vehicles, and even them, they're nice drivers and everything like that, but you know, they're not top end, gorgeous, show trailer queen vehicles. But what happened was my father was involved in an accident back in 2012 that ultimately cut his life short. There was a settlement from that situation, and me being the only child, I got that money. So it helped me to be where I am right now. I know that my father would want me to enjoy life. He would want me to live my life, and I know he would be really, really proud. He was a car guy. He didn't have a lot of vehicles himself. I mean, he had a few, but he was definitely into them. And I know if my dad could be here, it's gonna get me a little emotional, but if my dad could be here, he would be really proud of the collection that I have, and he would enjoy it. He would get a kick out of it, and you know, sometimes I can almost imagine him there with me, riding along with me, and yeah, it makes me feel good. One other question I do get from time to time is, okay, what's your favorite vehicle? For me, it's virtually impossible to tell you that, well, I think this Buick Turbo Regal is so much better than this Typhoon. You know, there are vehicles that I would get rid of before other vehicles. Obviously, the vehicle I'm going to keep forever until it goes to my son is my 65 Chevy pickup, sitting right behind the camera right now. If you guys follow the channel, you know me, you know the story about that truck. The 67 Chevelle Super Sport's very special to me. If you guys have watched that video, and that video seems to have been very popular lately, you'll know the story on that. I have a lot of bucket list cars in here right now. I have about 10 of them that I really would like to keep. There are a few other vehicles in here that are not bucket list vehicles, but I certainly like them for what they are. Each vehicle is unique. I could very easily do a video just walking around telling you, okay, I own this vehicle and this is why, and blah, 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 blah. But that would be kind of a long video, and I'm not going to do that right now. So for me to pick a absolute one favorite one that I just love above every other vehicle, virtually impossible. But obviously the vehicle I will keep forever is my 65 Chevy pickup until it goes to my son, and trust me, it's going to be a while before it goes to him. With that, I'm going to end the video. Apologize for getting a little emotional there, but it is what it is. So if you like the video, please do give me a thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, or stopped in for the first time, subscribe to this channel. It's a good time. I mean, it really is. You're going to love it. If you're an automotive junkie like me, you're going to love it. P.O. Box and Instagram will be in the description below. And with that, God bless, guys. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.